Now it all makes sense. Genetics. Genetics will mess you up every time. Poor Andrew Cunanan, baby, you didn't stand a chance from the gate.
And I'm like, come on through, Cookie. I want to put my soapbox. That's basically it. Let's talk about drag and all its forms. What, Cookie?
Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for The Assassination of Gianni Versace. This is part 7, and actually I think the actual finale is next week. But this segment here was very, very interesting. We get into the life of Andrew Cunanan and Gianni Versace from childhood. Very interesting. And like I said, genetics are something else. You don't just start from nowhere. There's always a little bit of you that came from a little bit of somebody else. We'll start with Gianni, which this part was very good, very interesting to me. He's a Calabria, Italy, 1957 with his mom. And you see a young Gianni is kind of watching his mother from afar. His mother was a dressmaker. We had heard about that a little bit. And he's going through all these things, and she told him, there's no need to sneak and watch me. I see you watching me. And she says, you know, my father basically told, my father told me I couldn't be a doctor. I wanted to be a doctor. My father told me I couldn't be a doctor, so I became a dressmaker. Because, again, especially back then, being a doctor wasn't a job for a woman. And she said, I always said I would never do that to my children. And, yeah, that was interesting to me. Then we see it's interesting to me because it kind of happened to me. I think I've actually talked to you all about this prior, that I ended up going a different career path than my mother wanted, and it was just a whole big issue, very big issue. I wrote about it in my book. That's actually the beginning of the book. Very big issue that I didn't do what it was that she wanted me to do career-wise, and at 46 years old, it's still an issue. You know, but that's her issue. That's not my issue. But whatever. Very interesting dynamic. But this hit home for me. We see young Gianni. And again, 1957. So we're seeing the whole thing. He's sketching in class. I was that little boy. He's sketching in class, and the teacher's teaching something else. And she says to him, are you a pervert? You know, because he's sketching women. You know what I mean? He's drawing women. And then one of the kids says, no, he's a pansy. You know? And so there's that whole thing. So the adults are against what you're doing, as well as the children are against what you're doing. You see that whole turmoil, and he comes home and he has this picture, and it's torn into four, because the actual teacher said, that bitch took the paper and tore it up. And he took it home. And his mother said, she looked at it and she said, oh no, this is beautiful. We will make this together for real. I said, yes, come on for Gianni's mother, honey. I got my complete life from the scene. And they took the dress, and she taught him for how to make the dress from point A to point B. Well, my story is different than that, but it hit home for me. I loved it. I loved that whole piece of it. And I laughed because I said, all that shit, that old stinking ass teacher, that bitch is probably somewhere dead, you know. But those students, I said, he ended up becoming a huge, huge success. How stupid did you all feel? You know, when you go back and say, I love that part. That was cool to me. But anyway, let's scoot up to 1980 in San Diego, California. At this time, Andrew Cunanan was about the same age as the young Gianni in the story. And we start to see what's going on with him. Very, very dysfunctional home. Very dysfunctional. We learn right away there's a separation in the home. Andrew has a brother and a sister that are actually older, like a lot older, a lot of years older. They're like high school age. And he's about 9 or 10 at the time. And they're actually picking up from this little small house and moving into this better neighborhood, this bigger house, and all of this. They like stepped out on faith for the most part and did this. His father's basically like a stockbroker. He's also a former military man, full Filipino, okay, a little short and everything. And his mother's just as docile as she always is, and she's walking around there. And we found out right away that Andrew is treated differently than the brother and the sister. The brother and the sister are treated like they don't even exist. They were like worker horses. They're moving this whole house. And you see the mother's moving furniture. The brother and the sister are moving furniture. The father, he's moving things, but he's more or less telling people what to do. Andrew's sitting his ass in a room reading a book. And the mother's like, well, where's Andrew? And the older kids are like, oh, Prince Andrew. You know. I said, oh, shit, okay. So we see that. Then they get to the house. They're being told to unload the truck. And Andrew's taken inside the house by his father, taken in to being given a tour of this. It's a beautiful house. Goes upstairs to the master bedroom. Baby, he done gave Andrew the master bedroom. The other kids are sharing a room. And there were 3 of them. There wasn't 2. There's 3 of them. There were 2 boys and a girl. There were 3 of them sharing a room. And then there were 3 kids in that room because there was 2 in the bed and 1 on the floor. So maybe that was 2 girls and a boy. Whatever. There was 3 of them. There's 2 people in the bed and 1 laying on the floor in there with a damn fan. And Andrew was in the room, in the master bedroom, honey. It was laid out with a king-size bed, nobody but his little ass. And then I noticed the daddy stayed in that room with him, too. I said, what? And the mama had her own room, or maybe that was her ass in there with the fan with the other 2 kids. Because I only seen 2 kids. Maybe that was her ass laying in there. Y'all put it in them comments. Was that the mammy laying on the floor and there was 2 kids? With the fan? I don't know. You know what? I'm going to go back. I'm going to pause this video. I'm going back and look and see whose ass was laying on the floor. Because I think there's only a brother and a sister. I think there's only a brother and a sister. I think that was the mother's ass laying on that floor. I'm going to go see. I'll be back. Okay. I'm back. There was 3. He has 2 sisters and a brother. It was 2 sisters in the bed, and the 2 sisters in the bed, the brother on the floor in the room with the fan, and the mother was in there in the room, and the mother had an old goddamn look like a single bed in her room. I said, Lord have mercy. Okay. And that's going to there's some more to that we're going to talk about that little situation. But the dad was sharing the room, I think, somewhat with Andrew. I think he would go in there with him. And I never actually seen him sleeping in there, but he would actually, his clothing, all his clothes were in Andrew's room. He told him, you have the room except for I'm going to use this one part of the closet for all my suits. And then, you know, other than that, the room is all yours. So I guess he went in there and banged the mother around whenever he wanted to and whatever. Mess. Anyway, well, we found out that the father was actually going up for a job for Merrill Lynch. He has the gift of gab. Like I said, genetics. That's where Andrew got it from. He has the gift of gab. His father taught him a lot. And he put that spirit into him of always overachieving when it comes to education and reading books and all of that cover to cover. He got all that from his father. His father taught all that. His father taught him about the art of conversation and this, that, and the other. And that basically to have that gift of gab. We found out right in the beginning, the father treated the mother like a second-class citizen, like she wasn't shit, and then talked smart to her and got rude with her and talked about her medication. Talked real down to her because she does have mental issues and she takes medication, and he always would make reference to her weak mind. You don't want to go to the hospital again. You know, your mind is weak and this, that, that. I just said, oh, no, he's not, you little short shit. He was terrible to her. At the same time, they were trying to put Andrew into this special school, and he had to be accepted and all that, and he made it into the school and all of that. And the father got the job at Merrill Lynch. The first thing they had, we see them have it out because he came in, there was like a piece of pizza there, and there was like a pizza rather there, and he says, well, what's going on? And he's like, I didn't get the job. And then they were like, oh, I'm so sorry. You know, the mother said, I'm so sorry, this, that, and the other. And he said, I'm just lying. I got it. We eat like kings, honey. And he revealed they had all this lobster and crab and all this stuff. But then snapped out on the mother and said, you believed that I didn't get the job. You were okay with that I didn't get the job. Just snapped out on her and everything. I said, no, he didn't. Then he sits down, so he made a plate for him and Andrew. The mother called the other kids, like, what's going on? And then they, we're going to eat. It was always about him and Andrew. It was like the rest of the family was just there. They didn't exist. I said, something wrong with that. But okay, moving on. Then he goes and he buys a car, a sports car for Andrew. Andrew's like 10 or 11 years old. And the mother's like, you cannot do that. The brother and the sister, there were two of them that were completely of age to drive. And then there was another one that was just above Andrew. But the brother and sister, oldest brother and sister, were of age to drive. He ain't bought them shit. And he's like, I do whatever I want to do. And I was like, oh my God. Gets him in the car, they're in the car. He's telling Andrew, your brother and your sisters are good kids. And I love them, but they're not special. They're not special. You're special. When your mother was pregnant with you, she was sick. And she's sick the whole time carrying you. Then after she had you, she was very ill. She had to be put away. I had to take care of you. I was your mother and your father for a while. And that was that. Honey, when he told Andrew that, the mother, because he had to smacked her outside, had to mushed her down to the ground. Because she told him he shouldn't buy the car for Andrew or whatever. Mushed her down to the ground. Then one time, don't be all dramatic. Just treat her like shit. She come around to the window side where Andrew's sitting, and Andrew looks at his dad and then looks at her as if to say, bitch, you ain't shit. Because that's what he told her. You know, your mother's got a very weak mind. She was ill. He rolled the window up on his mother and basically shut her out. From that point, she wasn't shit in his eyes. I said, like father, like daughter. I said, that's a mess. I said, oh my. And then there was this one little point, and I'm going to ask you all this. It was weird to me. It gave me the creeps. But he started telling Andrew this story about when he was young. Something about he stepped down onto a heater. And he said, and I picked you up. And you never made a sound. And I knew you were special. And he says, and that's it. You never made a sound. You just never made a sound. And then he clicked the lights off. And I said, wait a minute. Hold it. God damn it. Hold it. What are we talking about here? It gave me the creeps because it seemed like it implied that his dad was molesting him. That's what it implied to me. Like he was doing things to him and he just ain't never said nothing. I said, you're my best friend. You're the best friend I ever had. And this, that, and the other. And the relationship was definitely more than just father-son. It was like too much. It was like he was like a god. Whenever he literally got accepted into the school, he got down on his knees and kissed his fucking ankles and shit. I was like, something ain't right with this. You all tell me in the comments, did you all get the whole incestuous feel of creepiness when that thing with the light and the you never made a sound thing, or is that just me putting 20 on 10? Y'all tell me what you think. But I think Daddy was doing something. I said, you better not let me find out your dad was running up in you and carrying on. And maybe this is why Andrew felt so comfortable about older men. Because right after that part, we went right on into Andrew as a teenager, like when he was actually getting to the end of high school. And the father was failing miserably at Merrill Lynch. He couldn't do the job. And he ended up leaving Merrill Lynch, ended up going with another company. And at that point, he was over there scamming old people. We're going to talk about it in a minute. Let's talk about Andrew being a teenager. Andrew started messing around. He was dating like DL, older men, giving them money and giving them gifts and all of this kind of carrying on. And then we see him going to he always is crazy. Always, and that's why I say he gets the crazy from his mother, and he gets the lying and stealing and cheating and pretending from his dad. It's all in his DNA. That poor thing didn't have a chance. But and he always gets that crazy of things that aren't really going on. How he fell all in love with David and all of that. He's all in love with this DL man. And he was like, this is nothing. I'm banging you and giving you a couple of gifts. You're doing too much. And put him out the car. But he goes to this house party, baby. He was fagged out. He had his little red leather outfit on, baby. He was out there. And, he lived like a little rich kid. He lived like a little rich white kid, but he was a Filipino. And, so you're always in this midst of pretending to be something that you're not. Because people, in the real world, people look down on Filipinos. They do. It's not right, but they do. They look down on them like they're less than, and this is what we were actually seeing. You have his dad is like, you're Filipino and you have to be better to try to fit in with these white folks, is what he was given. I said, child, this is what you learning at home. So Andrew goes in there, and this is when he meets Lizzie, his best friend Lizzie, who is actually a married woman, well off, and pretending to be young. That's where he gets that name that he's always using, the De Silvas. The De Silvas is the people's house that Lizzie was house sitting, the De Silva's house. And there was a house party. That's where they met. That's why he always tells that lie that his parents' last name is De Silva. You can see the origins of all his lies that he continued carried on. A mess. Anyway, so let's flip on back over to his old lying-ass daddy. At this time, this is when things are coming to a head. At the new job, baby, the FBI done got a hold on to his daddy. Come in there, they come for him, baby. He runs out the back door and all this, goes to the house, grabs up all this stuff, maxes out all the credit cards, baby, and flees to Manila. Found out that he had sold the house weeks earlier and all of that, left the mother and the kid, just left them all and was like, oh, the hell with them, and fled. Coward. Fled to Manila. That damn Andrew went to Manila. He went to Manila, found his dad and his dad's brother, found him, found out, and questions for his dad. Him and his dad got into a heated argument. After his dad was like so happy to see him. I knew you would come, this, that thing, and the other. And he told him, he said, there's no money, is there? He says, yeah, there's money. I told you there's money. Pumping him up with this dream. And he laid down a while and he got up and said, there's no money. You did. What they said about you is right. And when he fled from the FBI, last thing he said to Andrew, don't believe anything they say about me. Some bullshit. Well, once they got into that little conversation, he told him, I am still your father. You will not disrespect me. You watch your tone with me. And Andrew's like, but where is the money, this, that thing, and the other? And he told him, let me tell you something. You don't judge me. I judge you. My special little boy. And then he said, are you over there crying? He said, crying? He said, you're weak. Just like your mother, my special little sissy boy. He said, you're just sitting over there. And he spit on him. I said, oh, wait a minute, you bastard. Spit on him in the face. and told him he wasn't nothing, that he was weak just like his mother, and he was a sissy. I said, oh, girl, really? And they went on, honey, and Andrew grabbed that knife, honey. I said, oh, grab this knife. He gonna tell him, go ahead and do it. Be a man for once, sissy. And Andrew said, I'm not going to be anything like you. And he wouldn't do it. He was squeezing the knife and bloodied his own hand. He said, mm-mm. I said, look at this. And the dad told him, no, a lot of what the dad was making sense, said made sense. He told me, he said, I wasn't no different than nobody else. All of the stockbrokers are stealing because that's what they do. They're all stealing. The only difference is I didn't know when to stop. I didn't steal at the right time. He said, I said, oh, okay. Then he said, and your mother's weak as she ain't no better. You don't sit around judging me. Your mother always knew that the money that was coming in was wrong and that it was stolen. She was okay with everything as long as the money kept coming in. Now that the money's not coming in and there's no money accessible to you all, now y'all got a problem with me. And he said, and you're here, you're not mad because of anything else other than the fact that there's no more money is why you're mad. I said, oh. And that was it, baby. Shunned them and sent them away. And I said, okay. So that was the end of that. And I said, wow. And then that's where we see Andrew come back to the United States. And that's where all the lies began. He just literally started lying and just continued on. And what about your father? My father owns multiple pineapple ranches and all this bullshit. I said, what? Just that's where all the stuff started. So like I said, genetics played a big part in Andrew Cunanan's just how screwed up he is. His father is a liar and a con artist and a pretender, just like he is. And his mother is 2 goddamn snaps from a whole goddamn concert. So, yeah, he just got it on both ends. He never stood a chance. Never stood a chance. And the more stressed out he got, the more his crazy went. Like his mother. Like she had to be locked up several times about her crazy. So, yeah, poor thing didn't stand a chance. But anyway, that's where we cut out. Next week is the last part. So we're going to run it all together. I guess at that point, I can't wait to see how they actually tie this all up. But anyway, as usual, thanks you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week. Later.